Hello and welcome to Watchworthy. It's your co-host, Brother Ash.
And I'm Miss Chris D.
And here on Watchworthy, we cover watchworthy documentaries and documentary series from our black ass perspective, giving it to you real.
I got one for y'all today.
And from the source.
Yes.
So what we gonna run through today is the Netflix documentary, The Fall of Favre. This is on pace because we are kind of through the first quarter of the NFL football season.
Already? Wow.
Yeah,
October?
It's the fall.
Yeah.
So it's like week 6 in the NFL now. We're recording this episode and week 6 is on the horizon.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brett Favre, if you are anywhere in the sports world, you've heard this name before. This documentary.
I put a thumbs down, babe, because I don't know him like that, but from watching this documentary, seems like I wouldn't be a fan.
Say you only watch football because your boyfriend loves football without saying it. That's literally.
But even you said back then you weren't really a huge fan of him,
Yeah, specifically him. It was something always about Favre I never really liked.
Maybe you knew. Maybe you was knowing.
That, but I also, I used to like quarterbacks that look like me, honestly.
True.
I'm gonna be real, like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all those great quarterbacks, I appreciate them from knowing the game, but I used to want to be like Michael Vick,
Yeah.
McNabb, you know what I'm saying? Those are my cool quarterbacks. But
he was actually in this documentary.
Yeah, so Mike Vick was in this, Jamil Hill was in this, Brett Favre himself obviously declined. This ain't the Favre documentary that's praising his name. This was not a Green Bay Packers production.
No.
And also the Jets did not care to comment.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. They didn't really talk much about the Vikings at all, but he did play for the Vikings for a little bit as well. So
alrighty, well, like you said, Brett Favre started with Green Bay, so a little history about the Green Bay Packers. They really dominated the NFL in the 1960s. That was their heyday.
Yeah.
They had a really great football history there in Wisconsin. What else do you have in Wisconsin? Football, cheese.
That's it. And beer.
And so the Packers, after their glory days, they kind of faded to mediocrity. And, every team has their moment, but it wasn't until they got Brett Favre later in the 2000s, actually in the 90s, I would say, that they really, kind of shot up to stardom.
Yeah, Favre was old as hell, yo.
Yeah, and how many seasons did he play?
I think about 20 somewhere.
Yeah,
in that
he's
range.
like the Tom Brady type, like you said. And so Brett Favre, he got his start at the University of Southern Mississippi. He really showed out as a freshman. He was a really great quarterback. He threw fastballs and the media was all over him already. And his father had a hand in his career. His father was really kind of tough Southern white guy. Red flag.
Yeah.
Sorry, but if you're brought up playing football, your dad is a Southern white man raising you, you're probably going through some trauma, probably. And so he kind of used that anger to kind of fuel him or whatever. And so he actually didn't get drafted until the second round of the 1991 draft. And he got drafted by the Atlanta Falcons.
Which is still, that's a high draft pick. You know what I mean?
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
Well, coming from his school, Southern Mississippi, that's not like a huge football school. It's a respectable program, but a second round pick that's not that. You know what I mean?
Not bad.
Tom Brady was the 7th.
I guess he thought more highly of himself. Yeah.
Of course they all do.
And so he really actually didn't play that much his rookie year. Red flag. I guess they felt like he needed to sit out and learn a lesson. I don't know.
That's not so much of a red flag to me. It's nothing wrong with a rookie not playing too much.
Well, like I said, maybe he had his head inflated. Maybe he thought that he should be playing. He was probably itching to get in there.
Yeah.
And so finally somebody did come along and give him a chance from Green Bay. So as I said, he was playing for Atlanta, but the general manager for the Green Bay came by around 1991. He liked what he saw in Brett Favre because they were playing a game against the Falcons. And he was like, oh, they don't realize the talent they have on their hands. He's a bench warmer here. So let's bring him over to Green Bay. As soon as they did that, he kind of just shot to stardom. They grabbed him for the 1992 season. He moved on over there. He actually had a daughter at that time. They didn't talk much about his personal life, but he already had a 3-year-old daughter. He was young. He was 27 at the time. So he went from living in Mississippi to living in Wisconsin. And, they also had someone in here who I'm going to say is an alleged victim. I believe the girl. So red flag for that. The fact that he's been kind of Me Too'd. And this woman was in the documentary, and this documentary is called The Fall of Favre.
Yeah.
So she was kind of talking about, some not so great things he did while they kind of built up his career, this is what he did at Green Bay. But then she came in and was like, but he wasn't that great of a guy.
He was a hell of a football player. I remember coming up, he was one of the most popular quarterbacks. Green Bay was always a respectable team, you know what I mean? And Favre was their guy.
Well, by 1997, Favre got the Packers to the Super Bowl 31 that was, and he got MVP like 3 years in a row. He was doing so well. He had the longest Super Bowl touchdown pass in history at the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so Brett, like you said, he will always remember for being that guy. He really brought back the title to Green Bay, and he kind of became the poster child, like could do no wrong in town. They said in those early years it's Wisconsin. Like we said, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He's in town, in public, in kind of, it reminded me of like Aaron Hernandez, kind of just going around the small town.
That's what's weird about Green Bay, because like Green Bay is such a small town. Like their stadium sits in their community. Like it's not like, like how, the Ravens stadium is right off I-95. Like,
right.
So it's a small town. So it's a small market, but the fans are so crazy and the team is so historic. Like when you're the fucking quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, you're almost like the president.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He really had connections with like the local police department.
He
could do no wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so he was really charismatic, like you say. He was fun. That's the thing. When you have that kind of persona, like, oh, he hunted just like me, he fished just like me, he's a good old American boy, it's hard for people to like look the other way.
Good old boy.
Or no, it's easy for people to look the other way. It's hard for them to like face the truth.
Yeah.
And so the woman in this documentary that was kind of, me tooing him was Jen Sturger. In 2005, she kind of gets this label as the cowgirl persona because she went to, I believe it was University of Florida or Florida State.
Florida State.
She went to Florida State. She went to a game. She had on a bikini top and a cowgirl hat, and the cameras, couldn't stay off of her. And one of the announcers even said something, red flag.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what made her go viral in 2005, before viral was even viral. She said, remember when like MySpace was a thing? She had like the most MySpace followers you could ever have. She was like breaking records or whatever. But because of that, she was trying to go into like media journalism. She actually had a marching band background. So she never really intended to go into sports, but she was hoping to make a career out of media journalism. And because of this whole situation with Brett Favre, her career kind of goes left. So she said...
Just a red flag overall. Flag. For the early 2000s, like...
Early 2000s, the fact that a grown man could say that on live TV about her, like, from the looks of it, it looks like 500,000 people just enrolled at Florida State because of her, like...
Yeah. That's crazy.
But anyways, from going viral, she went to Playboy, then Maxim, then Sports Illustrated. She said it was kind of like her career went backwards. Like most people start with one and then end with the other. But she said that she became a sports journalist through sportsillustrated.com. This is early days, y'all. Anything goes on the internet, like 2005, okay? Yeah. So she really kind of made this a lane. And so she ended up getting a full-time job with the Jets. And so we all know that after Brett Favre's time with the Green Packers, he moved on to the Jets. He really kind of had a distorted view of reality. Like, I'm the big guy on campus. Like, I can do no wrong. But then in 2005, the Green Bay Packers grabbed Aaron Rodgers. And now there's a new kid on the block. And now you're not as the shiny new thing on the Packers anymore, you know? Yeah. And so, again, I don't know football. I know football now, and I know Aaron Rodgers is that guy now.
Yeah,
so.
He was back then, boy. Yeah. You're just crazy. Aaron Rodgers actually played with Marshawn Lynch in college.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, it's a weird connection.
Yeah. So, he wasn't really a Brett Favre I'm speaking of. He wasn't really the player that he used to be. He had kind of aged. But people were like, whoa, don't get a twist. Like, that's Brett Favre.
This is the Favre I remember. Like, I don't remember Favre lighting up the league like the best, but I remember him being respected like he was.
Yeah. People were like, put some respect on his name. You can't say nothing crazy about Brett Favre.
He was a wild guy. Like, yeah.
And so, yeah, he kind of just like keeps dropping hints like, oh, well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna leave. If y'all don't want me, then just say the word, I'm out of here. And they're like, okay, bye.
It kind of reminds me of like a skit or something. It was like a Super Bowl commercial where they had fast forwarded like 20 years, like to what will be now. And it was like Brett Favre still getting people with that, like, yeah, this is my last year.
Yeah.
And it was like 2030 or something. But so the Packers were willing to give Brett some time off. When you were a veteran in the NFL, they bend the rules a little bit for you. And he definitely milked that. So Aaron, he's like this young gunner. He's coming up. They weren't, really waiting around for Favre to come back top notch because Aaron was lighting shit up at practice.
It was
every
like,
day.
Take all the time you need.
Yeah, we good. We got this guy from Cal. He's pretty decent. He's running with the ones now. So yeah, take your time, Brett. So knowing that, Brett was pretty stubborn. Like he's an alpha type of like alpha male type of person. Like, so he don't want to.
Red flags. I feel like he gets that from like his upbringing. Like,
he's not. That's football though. You're not playing to be the number 2 guy. Like after all the success you had. So knowing how stubborn he was, he just basically kind of quit. Like that was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? So on the Saturday before the Packers were supposed to report, Brett realized he wasn't going to get his job back, and he basically got sold to the Jets.
At least he found a home somewhere.
But red flag. Well, not really a red flag, but that's just how the NFL is. Like, because one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
The Giants just did that with Russell Wilson. We scooped him up from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ain't want to have shit to do with him.
Yep.
So, now he might be looking for a job soon. So, no funny shit. No funny shit. Because now it's other teams that need quarterbacks and Russell Wilson just sitting on our bench. So, Tim Andre was a former Jets employee, and he worked with Jen Sturger. And it was a lot of loose guidelines to the job.
I feel so bad about that.
This was like a new type of thing they were doing, so they kind of just
internet media.
Yeah, you feel me? So like it was very loose as far as like what they were supposed to be doing.
No HR.
Yeah. So they had to do a lot of crazy shit that probably people wouldn't even be wasting their time doing. She
was a young hot girl who went viral for being young and hot, and then was forced to interact with Jets fans
and be young and hot, in the sports space, which is, super like horn dog already.
Yeah, it's not a red flag to her. It's a red flag to the industry.
So Jen was just happy to be there. She really wanted to have a media career, and this was her way into that door. So, she said a lot of women have gone through awful treatment in the industry. Those stereotypical tropes is still there. I think Jamil Hill said that. Yeah. That's
terrible because it's been 20 years and still women's voices aren't really. I mean, I'm glad to see people like Jamil Hill in this documentary, but we need like more of her. Yeah, we need like more Taylor Rooks and more of those types of people.
It's fucked up because it's such a double standard for women in sports media. Like I remember it was a journalist that like fumbled, something. She was like trying to compare a Barry Sanders jersey to the presence of Shedeur Sanders. And people kind of took it like, oh, you don't know the difference between Barry Sanders and Shedeur Sanders. It's just she got her words mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Like she covers sports
like
so much.
God forbid I get a mistake.
How many times you have a brain fart at your job? You know what I'm saying? Right. But like when you're a woman in that space, you get grilled. Like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You shouldn't be there. You just here because, what do they call it?
And now every year they're getting better and better, but I can't imagine doing this in 2005.
People like Jamil Hill, though, like she know her shit. Like if you want to try to argue her down the hole, then you better come with your shit ready. So Jen recalls when someone asks her for her number on Brett Favre's behalf. And basically, like, her whole thing was like, I want my job. Like,
yeah, I'm glad she didn't immediately be like, oh, sure.
Yeah,
she was like, no, I'm working.
But that's the thing. Like, that's how misogynistic the industry was.
Yeah.
They realized.
Oh, yeah, like, I hate to bring this up, but like how R. Kelly used to like send people to go get girls for him.
Yeah, like oh,
Brett Favre wants to get my number.
Brett thinking I say something to her, she gonna go crazy. Whole time she like, well, his wife kind of looked like me. This is weird.
That was a red flag. That was a red flag. When she brought that up, I was like, oh, she does look like his wife. So he's going after young girls that look like his wife.
So she also got 2 MySpace messages from someone that she didn't recognize. And said that they got her name from the front office. She thought she was getting punked because apparently her male coworkers did shit to her like this all the time. That's a red flag. Why was y'all fucking like? I would never
imagine
fuck
if
with
somebody
one of my
asked for your number at work. Yeah,
that's I don't know. Motherfuckers be doing too much.
You literally can't give out that information.
So she was a 25-year-old contract employee, basically. Not basically, that's what she was.
Yeah.
And she was feeling uncomfortable around somebody who was basically a god in the world that she was trying to get into.
I'm sorry, but if you think about it, if she told people like, yeah, Brett Favre asked for a number, people would probably not take her seriously.
I think people would have been like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Or they, we'll get to it. Yeah. We'll get to it. So Jen received a picture from Brett Favre.
Unsolicited.
It was an email. It was like, it said B Favre at
Right, it was so obvious. So, red flag. Red flag. It literally was like bfavre@tmail.com.
It was B Favre something. And I'm like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? But this is how, when you
think you can't get caught, you can't get in trouble. Like
this was before niggas knew that you could look up a phone number and find out where somebody lived.
Yeah.
Early 2000s was a crazy time, man.
You had to send your email dick pics?
Because niggas had all the technology in the world, but still was cavemen as far as how to understand it. Like
on your BlackBerry?
So So she, didn't want nobody to know about this. So she didn't tell people about it.
She only told that one coworker.
You know what I'm saying? That one coworker she told. And she prayed that like it was the end of it, when Favre retired in 2009. All right. So
he left the Jets.
He left the Jets in 2009. So he decided not to retire and then went to the Vikings, the Packers' rivals, in August 2009. And I felt like they didn't talk about
red flag. That shows the kind of man
they didn't talk about the Vikings a lot. Hold on.
You're going to go to the rival team. I'm sorry, but that's how I felt when Saquon went from the Giants to the Eagles.
Because part of this is business. Like, if the rival team happened to give me more money, then hey, man.
You could pick any team in the NFL.
Maybe he was trying to get his little his little get back. But wasn't nobody worried about Brett Favre in 2009. It's old ass.
Yeah, by 2009, that's like 10 years in.
Drew Brees had the NFL in the chokehold. Tom Brady had the NFL in the chokehold. Yeah. Niggas wasn't worried about no Brett Favre in 2009. So he decided not to retire. He came back, another pump fake. So Jen wrote an article for Deadspin, which was like a rogue sports site.
Wow West.
Barely journalism, yeah. So she did that like in 2009. And it was ironic that the site built by Jen, destroyed her by 2010.
Yeah. So that same site is the one that kind of like put her out there and made her go viral, deadspin.com. And then later she came back to write for them. And she basically was like, hey, can this be off the record? I don't want you to share my story. And they're like, no, we're going to.
Yeah. So that gets out. And that's why I put that red flag there, is because when she was put in that position, she really didn't want it. She wanted the whole
she wanted to go away. Yeah.
Because like if she comes out with this, it's fucked up as a woman in the media. She knew that she was going to be the one whose career was going to be ruined.
Yeah.
Not Brett Favre. And, after all of that happened,
I think she said something like, I was a sports story. Like she was a scandal herself, but she was still trying to work in sports. So it just was messy.
So basically she didn't know. She said all her emails were hacked and she still doesn't know who did it until this day. She never met Brett Favre to this day.
That's crazy.
And that's what's crazy. Like they never really even had a relationship. And Brett Favre is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, but niggas send dick pics. Niggas, even women send unsolicited titty pics, pussy pics to people. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going asshole pics. Like, nah. But I think people just do shit like that. And it's like, it's really just like an ego thing. Like, who the fuck even said I wanted to see that?
And unsolicited, what makes you think you could just send that to people?
But that's not even what makes Favre a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Let's cook for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, long story short, anyone who was covering, or watching Brett Favre in the media wasn't really surprised because they knew what type of guy Favre was, right?
That's not cool.
So now, she's getting casted out as this harlot. Oh, she was selling sex. What do you expect?
Right,
You're trying to ruin his career. He's married, this, that, and the third. Her career is over.
That's sad.
And Jamil Hill said it really should have been the other way around.
Right. Another story where, big bad sports athlete got caught with his hands in the cookie jar and he just got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Because if we being realistic, that is like sexual harassment
of an employee. If yes, you're looking at, that's a Jets employee to a Jets employee.
Exactly. And if you're looking at the hierarchy of that building, Brett Favre is up here and she was down there.
Top.
So it meets every type of element of that type of sexual harassment in the workplace, but it just went right under the rug.
Yeah.
So Favre gets inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Her
career's over, but he's in the Hall of Fame.
Hero type worship when he's going around. Michael Vick was in the documentary. He talked about how much of an impact NFL quarterbacks have. The Wrangler commercial, Sirius XM, you name it.
So he was still doing fine.
Yeah, Favre's face was all over the sports still. I remember this. So Brett Favre, right? This is where he gets into the big bad, Brett bag of shit.
It's not bad until you do something federal. Like we've said that before in this documentary. They only get caught when they not pay some they taxes or something.
So Brett's daughter, Breely, right? She plays volleyball at Southern Mississippi. This is the same school that Brett goes to, right? So Brett has this volleyball court built there, right? Through some type of fundraising, right? Some type of, thing where they stand together, cut the ribbon.
Right, nobody even questioned it.
Yeah, nobody questioned it at all, right?
It's Brett Favre. It's Brett Favre donating a volleyball court to our college.
Brett Favre used his platform, right, to weasel his way into his connections and finds out that he misplaced and misused federal welfare funds through TANF funds. That's what they're called, like TANF funds, right? The state's largest welfare scandal in history. And he used welfare money to fund this volleyball court for his daughter.
And of course, this was 2020. So I feel like everybody was just doing shady stuff then. And it doesn't matter if it's Joe Schmo getting a PPP loan or if it's Brett Favre apparently stealing federal welfare funds. Yeah. Like the welfare that people need to live and survive.
Out of Mississippi.
How do you even do that? He must have had a good accountant.
Niggas he must have had a good Mississippi to this day. I'm not even trying to be funny. Yeah. It's niggas like that don't know how to read.
Yeah.
Because of the level of poverty in certain parts of Mississippi is, and I ain't coming at nobody from Mississippi. And they're just trying to
keep their lights on.
But if you from Mississippi, motherfucker, you know how fucked up it is for somebody to be taking from your welfare.
Just trying to have running water.
From anybody's welfare. You know what I'm saying? But for you to have been, you know, the face of Southern Mississippi University and all of this, and for you to do these people like that just show what type of person you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like, of course, I don't know this man personally, but just judging from, and maybe some people will say this documentary is propaganda. Oh, it's against Brett Favre.
And it don't stop there. He was using that money to pay himself.
Can't forget to give yourself a salary. Yeah. Red flag.
He's taking endorsements from concussion drugs.
So he built a volleyball court, paid himself, started putting his funny money into, like you said, some fake drug scheme.
So, and it's not even, and that's what I'm saying, like, and it's shit that connects to home. If Brett Favre is talking to an ex-athlete about a drug that can help with concussions.
Right. He was a big spokesperson.
That's going to mean something to a nigga like Troy Polamalu, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the drugs wasn't even fucking back. They weren't even approved by the, you know what I'm saying?
This was what was the name of that scandal? The girl who made the fake blood test? I can't think of it right now. But basically it was one of those type of scandals where Theranos. Yeah, it was a Theranos situation.
So, and of course he comes out like, oh, I didn't know about none of this stuff. It's text messages to him like, are you sure that the media will not find out?
Red flag. Is there red flag. If you're asking, am I going to get in trouble? You already know this is probably a bad idea.
You know. Like, and that's why I'm like, damn, Favre. Like, I never fucked with him as a kid, but that must have been my, you know, they say sometimes kids be knowing.
Yeah, maybe you just had an inkling like he wasn't a great guy.
I ain't never met him, never sat in a room with this motherfucker, but I had a feeling like that guy right there, like
But like you said, he didn't represent you. You didn't see yourself in him. And clearly he doesn't have the same character.
And he looked like a bad guy. Michael Vick didn't look like a bad guy to me.
From the beginning, no shade, but they showed like younger pictures and stuff of him, and I was like, he's not a handsome kid. Yeah. Like he was not cute.
I'm glad they had Michael Vick in this because they said what didn't have to be said.
Oh,
just by having him commentate.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
Because y'all know what happened to Michael Vick with the dogs, having the dogs fight on his. Michael Vick served jail time. So you
served jail time for dog fighting, but this man sends unsolicited dick pics to a younger employee. Like you said, hierarchy is way off. You're the tippy top, highest paid athlete, and she's she made sure to say like I was a 25-year-old contractor. She probably was just trying to pay her rent, and you're over here just going willy-nilly with her career.
Chasing her dream.
Smear her name.
Chasing her dream. You are actively living the dream of most men in the country today.
A mess.
That is crazy to me. So
let's get into these Watchy Awards. So Watchy Awards, we like to award someone who really made the documentary for us. Like what made it watch-worthy. For me, I loved hearing Jemele Hill's commentary. I got to give my Watchy Award to her. Like you said, there's just not a lot of women in sports media journalism to pick from right now. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully the numbers continue to grow. I see it every day. I'm like, oh, okay, another black girl on ESPN. But I'm glad that they incorporated somebody who could relate to Jen. I mean, like she said, at the end of the day, even Jen said it herself, like this was a story about Brett Favre. It really wasn't about me. She said that her name, often gets lost in the sauce, and she's not looking for attention. Clearly, she's had enough attention. It ruined her career. So I definitely just want to give a shout out to the girls, people like Jemele Hill, Taylor Rooks, who are in the sports industry and who can relate and who can, be that voice.
So this was tough for me because I don't really know who I want to give my watchworthy award to. I mean, she took who I would have given it to. in this documentary. But I think I'm gonna give my Watchy award to Irv Favre.
Yeah.
For smacking Brett upside his head when he was a youngin' and whipping him into shape, because I feel like there was a point in the documentary when they talked about this, but I also remember this happening in sports too. When Irv died during Brett's career, I feel like something changed.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
You know, like he may have always been this young gunslinger, rock, you know, cowboy type of guy, but you know, that changes somebody when, you know, if your father is the guy that keeps you on the straight and narrow.
They said he didn't really listen to his coaches and he listened to his dad more.
Exactly.
So
exactly. They said straight up the Packers head coach was getting snapping on Favre about some shit, some bullshit. Y'all know how Favre used to play.
Yeah.
And the coach is like, Brett, what the hell? Favre, you're killing me.
And he
looked at him and said, what are you gonna do?
He literally showed no respect.
Like so that's the type of dude Brett was, and I'm gonna give my Watchy award to Irv, his
the man
father.
who made him that way.
Yeah, rest in peace. And you know.
So how do you feel about Brett Favre after watching this now? Are you like, oh yeah?
The same way I felt about him before. I knew about some of this shit. Some of it, you know, I learned more about with this documentary because, you know,
I was in 2009. I was worried about Lady Gaga or something. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't worried about sports news. I just like watching sports. I didn't follow like what was going on in personal lives and shit. And I wasn't a fan of Brett Favre back then, and I'm not a fan of Brett Favre now.
Yeah, well, I feel like earlier I was getting at. Some people probably still have this like God complex about him. Like, oh my God, how dare you talk about Brett Favre? So this documentary coming out, probably they're like, oh, that's propaganda.
You know what? I'm not. Yeah, because I actually remember the 2007 Giants beating Favre's ass in Green Bay. To go and win the Super Bowl. Or was that Aaron Rodgers? One of them. Yeah, maybe both.
How are the Packers doing now this season?
Nah, that doesn't matter. Let me have it.
All right, guys. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review, share our podcast with a friend, a loved one, family member. If you love documentaries and they love documentaries too, y'all can bond, y'all can listen. You can be like, oh my God, did you check out the new episode of Watchworthy? So hit that subscribe button. I'm just saying, listen, you know, we just appreciate you guys for rocking with us. If you want to see more of this, make sure you follow us on Instagram at watch.worthypod. And I'm sorry, that's TikTok, watch.worthypod, and Instagram at watchworthypod. Peace.